You're watching a match. 90 minutes are up. The score is still tied. And instead of going home, everyone just keeps playing. No one explains why. The players don't leave the pitch. The referee doesn't blow the final whistle. Something else is happening, and it has rules most viewers have never actually heard out loud. Here's what's actually happening. When a knockout match ends level after 90 minutes, football doesn't accept a tie. Someone has to win. So the game adds extra time. That's 2 more periods, 15 minutes each, played back to back. Think of it as a second mini-match stitched onto the end of the first one. The clock that you thought had stopped just kept. But what if extra time ends and the score is still tied? That's where the part everyone has seen but almost no one understands begins. The penalty shootout. Here's the part that surprises people. A shootout isn't really part of the match. The referee blows the final whistle, the game officially ends, and only then does the shootout start. That single detail changes everything about what's allowed inside it. Yellow cards picked up earlier in the match don't carry into the shootout. A player already cautioned twice during play who picked up 2 yellows and should be off the pitch by normal rules, walks up to the spot with a clean slate. Strange, right? But the laws are clear. Warnings from the match don't follow you into the shootout. So who's even allowed to take part? Only the players who were on the field or briefly off it for an injury or equipment fix the moment extra time ended. Anyone already substituted is done. No fresh legs coming on just to take a penalty. That single rule has decided shootouts before they even start, because it means tired legs, not fresh ones, often step up to the spot. Now here's a wrinkle almost nobody notices. What happens if one team has fewer players than the other? Maybe a red card earlier, maybe an injury with no substitutes left. The rule is called reduce to equate. The team with more players has to remove enough of them to match the smaller side. Both teams need the exact same number of eligible kickers. Why? Because without it, a team with 11 fit players could simply outlast a team down to 9 just by having more bodies to throw at the shootout. The rule exists purely to keep the contest fair, kicker for kicker. Before a single ball is struck, there are 2 coin tosses. The first decides which goal the kicks are taken at. The second decides which team goes first. 2 flips decided by chance before anyone's nerve is even tested. Each team picks 5 kickers. They alternate 1 kick each back and forth. This back and forth pattern is the standard most fans have grown up watching. There was actually an experiment with a different order, where one team would take 2 kicks in a row instead of strictly alternating, designed to remove any edge the first team might have. It was trialed at a handful of matches, but never caught on widely, and football's lawmakers eventually dropped it for being too complicated to explain to fans watching at home. The familiar back-and-forth pattern stayed. So why does it feel like the team kicking first has an advantage? You've probably heard commentators say exactly that. The theory goes that the team kicking second is always reacting, always 1 step behind, taking their kick knowing exactly what they need to match or beat. Researchers have studied this for years, and the honest answer is messier than the commentary suggests. Some large studies have found a real edge for the team kicking first. Others, including more recent and larger reviews, have found barely any advantage at all once you look closely. The drama you feel watching it might be bigger than the actual statistical edge. Each kicker gets 1 shot. If the goalkeeper saves it, there's no second chance off the rebound, even if the ball pops loose in the box. If the kick cannons off the post or crossbar, it doesn't matter how many times it bounces around. No follow-up taps. 1 strike, 1 outcome. Then it's the next player's turn. What happens after 5 kicks each if the score is still tied? This is the moment that turns a structured contest into pure nerve. It moves into sudden death. From here, it's 1 kick each back and forth, and as soon as one team scores and the other misses, it's over. No more rounds planned, no countdown, just the next kick and the one after that, until somebody blinks. There's also a rule for the goalkeepers themselves that fans rarely notice. The goalkeeper facing the kick has to stand on the goal line between the posts until the ball is actually struck. Step forward too early, even half a step, and the referee can order the kick retaken. So when you see a shootout replayed in slow motion and a save gets waved, this is usually why the keeper guessed early. the rules caught it. And if a goalkeeper picks up an injury mid-shootout and can't continue, a substitute is allowed to come on specifically to replace them, even though normal substitutions ended when the final whistle blew. It's the one exception built into a process that otherwise locks the squad in place the moment extra time finishes. Why does any of this exist at all? Before shootouts, tournaments tried other solutions, and none of them worked. Replaying the entire match again and again until someone won wasn't practical for a packed tournament schedule. Drawing lots, essentially picking a winner out of a hat, settled some games purely on luck, with zero football involved. Football's lawmakers eventually adopted the penalty shootout in 1970 as a way to guarantee a winner, without dragging a tournament out indefinitely. It made its World Cup debut over a decade later, in a tense semifinal that's still remembered today as one of the most dramatic nights in the competition's history. There were other experiments, too. For a while, tournaments tried what's called sudden death extra time, where the first goal scored in extra time ended the match immediately, no waiting for the full 30 minutes to play out. It was meant to encourage attacking football instead of cautious defending. It didn't last. Lawmakers eventually scrapped it because teams just played even more defensively, terrified of being caught by one fast counterattack that would instantly end the game. A related idea split the second half of extra time into its own mini-period, where a goal scored just in that final stretch would end things early instead of the very first goal of extra time overall. That version didn't survive either. Both ideas were eventually dropped, and football went back to playing out the full 30 minutes of extra time before even considering a shootout. Sometimes the oldest, simplest version of a rule turns out to be the one that sticks. Even the coin toss itself has been debated. Right now, it takes two separate flips to decide the end and the order. Some inside the game have pushed to combine that into a single toss, arguing that needing two flips means a team can lose both and end up with a double disadvantage before a single kick is even taken. Whether that change sticks or not, it shows you something important. Even the part of the shootout that looks the simplest, just a coin in the air, is still being argued over and refined. So next time a match goes level and the players don't walk off, watch for the small things. Watch the captains being waved over for that first coin toss. Count how many players each team actually has left on the pitch. Notice that a player who picked up a yellow card in the 80th minute is somehow allowed to step up and take kick number 3 with a clean record. None of it is random. Every part of it was built, argued over, and adjusted across decades just so two teams that couldn't be separated in 90 minutes can still walk away with one winner. You're watching a match. 90 minutes are up, the score is still tied, and now, finally, you know exactly why everyone keeps playing.